You're listening to Guitar Talk with Dave and John.
Welcome back to Guitar Talk. I'm Dave.
Hey, good morning. This is John. How are you?
And today we talked a little bit about, we were going to have some guitars with us. I see John has an SG Standard with him.
I do indeed.
And what do you got in that, John? To tell the folks what you do to your guitars.
This one here's got Seymour Duncans.
Really? And you know how I feel about Seymour
It
Duncan
does,
pickups?
yeah.
Just
Do.
kidding.
I had DiMarzio's 36th anniversaries in this guitar before, and they stink. They didn't sound good in this guitar.
Yeah.
The top end was funky.
It's
Actually,
not a great pickup.
now to make it even worse for you, because I know you don't like it, this has a JB in the bridge.
A John Bingham?
It does. It sounds good in this guitar. I don't know if it's the scale length or what, but
Oh yeah. Let me see the. Let's take a look at it. Hold it up so we can see. Oh,
it's just a standard.
it's a
Nothing
beaut.
special.
Yeah, it looks nice though. Looks nice. Nice color. Nice red.
It's
I am
a
playing,
fine vintage.
I am
You look
playing
like
my Warmouth Strat.
You look like you're playing a pick guard with black pickups.
Oh, I'm nailing my mic. This is a Fender Strat that was made by. I had my guy Jim Casey put it together, but basically it's a Warmouth Strat. Everything's Warmouth. I wanted it to look like, I don't know if you're familiar with the International Series Strats of the late 70s. Had a color like this with this exact configuration, except it had an oversized headstock. And I don't know, do you like my microphone's growing hair?
Yeah, I noticed it hit puberty.
Yes.
That's great.
It looks like Cousin It. I found this thing in the drum, like, oh, that went to a microphone to my old camera. I love this stupid looking thing.
It's great. So we've got something going on this morning. We are going to light you up with some iconic riffs. Am I remembering this correctly?
I might have to change some sounds to go through some different riffs, but that's okay. You're using, if I'm not mistaken, was that the Rectoverb you're using?
Yeah, I'm just using the Rectoverb into a like a speaker load simulator. Thanks.
Nice. And I'm using my Fender Mustang. Nice. I'm using my Fender Mustang 2 version 2, plugged direct in through USB and all that other horseshit that I use, Fender Fuse, to change the sounds. In fact,
this video is sponsored by Fender.
Oh, did you watch that video I sent you last night with the guy?
I didn't have a chance.
God,
I gotta watch it.
I couldn't disagree with everything he said more.
That's
I mean,
funny.
it's even when he got down to the top 3, I was just like.
So the premise, because people are lost on what you're saying right now, the premise is you sent me a video clip of a guy listing from top to bottom the best to the worst Rush records, right?
No, he went from worst to the best.
Oh, worst to best. And of course,
Right.
He probably put Hold Your Fire as the best.
As the worst, number
Okay.
18.
Well, I agree with that. That album stinks.
Yes, he says that's the worst album. And I don't want to ruin it for you, it's the experience, but I will say I was upset that Signals was 10.
Yeah, Signals is real good. That shouldn't have been 10.
Yeah.
I'm just assuming Moving Pictures was number 1.
No.
Okay. Good. I agree with that.
Oh, I don't.
What was
And
number 1?
I think Moving Pictures was around 6, and I think number 5
wow.
was like Permanent Waves.
Yeah. No, that doesn't make sense. What was number 1?
Number 1 was Hemispheres.
Okay.
And 2 was Farewell to Kings.
Oh, wow. Interesting. So this guy doesn't have a girlfriend or a wife or anything, right?
I don't know. I mean, he went into every album. I just thought, like, I'll tell you what he had high up on the list. And when I say high, I mean close in the top 10 was Snakes and Arrows.
Okay.
And what was the last? Either if Snakes and Arrows is the last one, what was the second to last?
Ghost something. What was it?
No, was it Vapor Trails?
Yeah,
no,
that's
Vapor Trails was 2002.
Yeah, but that was.
I think he had the Vapor Trails remix, the remix version of that album. he had high up.
Okay.
But yeah, but I was just watching it go. I mean, he had Grace Under Pressure really like close to the bad of the list, like towards the.
No, Grace Under Pressure of like the 80s stuff, that's the best one.
I mean, so too.
I'm not including Signals in the 80s stuff
Right.
because it still sounded like Rush. I think it
Right.
got a lot more synth heavy by the time Grace Under Pressure came around.
Yeah.
That one's a good one. I mean, my top 3 from them would be Moving Pictures, Hemispheres, and Permanent Waves in no particular order.
Yeah. I would say if you took Signals to Farewell to Kings, if you took those 4 and put those in any order in your top 4, I can't argue.
Yeah. The thing that bugs me about people in Rush, and it shouldn't bother me, I guess really it doesn't, but everybody's like, oh, 2112. I'm like,
I don't like it. He didn't like it either.
No.
Yeah, he didn't have it high up. And he also Caress of Steel, he had like the 3rd worst album they did.
Was it Paul Stanley that did an interview where he was like in the van listening to Caress of Steel when Rush came out with it, and they were all together and they were excited about showing him, and he was like, what the fuck? You guys are not trying to get women.
Yeah. Hilarious. Yeah, what was that? 75 or 74?
So
74.
All right, well, since we're on Rush and we're going to do some iconic guitar riffs, throw out your most iconic Rush guitar riff.
For me, I mean, I always like the. Whoa, what is that? Do I know how to play? Hold on. Nobody ever knew those until Alex Lifeson went on that YouTube show, whatever that someone posted on YouTube, how he actually plays it.
Oh,
Did
really?
you see that? Oh yeah, and he has these chords. It's like but then he plays this is the 2nd chord, and then it's like all these chords that he just plays, and it's yeah. No, I always liked or even like anything. My favorite always was. Whatever the hell.
Fucking great. Camera Eye?
Yeah, that's always
so
my
good.
favorite.
Well. Good.
Yeah, love it.
That one's definitely was way up there. Super good. Got goosebumps. You can't see it, but they're there. I'll give you 2 of them since you gave me 2 of them here. We'll start out here. Was it something like that? Yeah. Dig it. The other one, of course, would be. Absolutely love it.
What's the name of that song?
La Via Strangiato.
Oh, right. You know, when at first I thought you were playing was, you know, whatever the Analog Kid.
Oh, right. No, not that one.
Yeah, you know, it's funny for me. Like, I love Permanent Waves, and you're listening to Rush Talk. No, what was that album? It's one that's a ba-do down 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 down. Is that Jacob's Ladder?
No. Is that Natural Science?
No. I think it's Jacob's Ladder. The
clouds prepare for battle.
Right, exactly. Yeah, but if ba-do down 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 down.
So good.
But then he does that woo, that solo.
Yeah, it's excellent.
Yeah, there's some good stuff. A lot of people call out Alex Lifeson, including himself at one point, for like that guitar tone. But I thought for what he fit into the trio of Rush, I think it works. That he doesn't sound like he's very atypical, if you will, not
right.
typical. But
no, and I'm okay with that. I mean, they are one of my favorite bands, so it's not turning me off. But it's just a guitar tone that I couldn't see working for me. Right. Just like the guitar tone that you're hearing through my direct box this morning.
Right, exactly. Mine. And then
super good.
Another band that I never liked the guitar tone was Yes. And I love the songs. I love there's a few albums that I really like. Obviously the Yes album, Fragile. What's the one that the one that has it's got three, Close to the Edge.
Close to the Edge, yeah.
Yeah, and Relayer and Tales of Topographic are excellent. Of course, I love Drama. I thought Drama, they were getting back into, stopping the long, drawn-out songs. But the tone of his guitar has always just been awful to me. Just is.
Yeah, I hear you. I don't know. Some of these guys, it makes you wonder what they were going for, who the producer was, why they decided to do what they decided to do.
Oh, yeah, no, I think when you see them live, it's pretty clear. He's using like a 175 Gibson, and he's playing, and even live, he never has good tone. It's what he likes, and it's just, but it's not like, it's not of the ilk of what came out of the 60s, I'll say. It's not like tone that was not the woman tone
right
that Clapton had in Cream, and it's not the Hendrix tone, and I think a lot of guys that have great tone were, like guys that took that and tried to run with it, and some guys just didn't care and they went and did their own thing. But
much like your microphone is reminiscent of Cousin It, Steve Howe is reminiscent of the Crypt Keeper.
He really is.
Oh my goodness.
He has not aged well. He has not aged well.
Oh.
It's all I remember from Yes. That and the
You're listening to Dave learn how to play riffs. Oh yeah.
Starship
Troopers. That's a great ending.
Yeah, it is.
Killer chord progression.
I even like the beginning when it's like Sister Bluebird.
You're listening to
You're listening to guys figuring out songs they haven't heard in 30 years.
Right. So, kid, I had a show this weekend. We did a private patty, guy's 50th. It was really good. The wife, the woman that hired us to do the party, was looking for somebody to do a bunch of grunge and punk tunes.
Oh, nice.
So we have a bunch of those in the set from previous parties that we've hosted. So we put it together and did it. It was a lot of fun. Out there just shredding. We did. I actually sing that one.
Oh, you do?
As a grown man, it is so embarrassing to get in front of a microphone and do the Billy Corgan thing. Freak out. Give in. It's just like, couldn't sing less like a grown male.
Yeah. Well, you know what I love in that is I love that it's very you talk about hearing a song and then running away with it. And to me, when I hear that song, play the main riff in that.
This is a killer riff. Fucking great. Pardon my language. I love playing that.
Around. When I hear it, I picture he was listening to War Pigs and figuring it out one day, and then heard, you know, in War Pigs when it starts, it's like, right there.
Yeah.
Because he does it, and then he does it again. He's like, and I figured they were probably fucking with that and was like, hey, you know what I mean? It's like, it's very
not far off.
Yeah. I mean, which goes to show you can take a monster, you don't know where inspiration's going to come from. But that's one of my all-time favorites is that opening to, actually, I think War Pigs is such an iconic song, and people, talk about it and play it, and it's kind of overplayed. And yet every time I hear it, I'm like, I love everything that Tony Iommi is doing in that song. I think it's fantastic. Like, it is so groundbreaking for its time, even though at the same time, he's really just doing Hendrix If 6 Was 9.
Generals gathered in their masses.
Right, but you know, if 6 Was 9? Now if the sun... it's very much If 6 Was 9 inspired, but they made it into something monstrous. And there's a couple of Sabbath riffs that really get me, and obviously that War Pigs opening riff is one of them.
Yeah,
I always loved.
So
Fairies Wear Boots.
Good one.
I mean, these are songs I haven't played in 100 years. Also, was on that.
Children of the Grave, so good.
Fantastic. It's fantastic. Yeah. On that record, you also had. All right now. There's
that effect again for a minute. That odd effect just came back.
No, it's not. Shouldn't be.
It was.
It was. Yeah, there's some. Like I said, there's some. When I hear that, I love it.
Yeah.
I love Iommi. I think Iommi had some great stuff. I even think that the let's see if I can get a little.
Ooh.
In the misty morning. Exactly. So like, but that whole.
I love that.
Oh, what is it though? The bass line that he's playing underneath him is it's a do 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 do. We sailed across the air. Oh, that whole record, I even love the last song up. Well, I'm out of tune. It's a long road. Yeah. Anything with Dio.
Really good. Yeah. If you're a Black Sabbath guy if you're a casual Black Sabbath fan, you like what you hear on the radio, you only hear the Ozzy stuff. The 2 albums with Dio are great. There was more than 2, but the 2 that I appreciate the most, What was it? It would be Heaven and Hell and Mob Rules.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, Mob Rules had great songs. Voodoo, Country. I mean, I love all that. Country
Girl. Yeah. Country Girl is a big riff.
There was Turn Up the Night is on that record. Sign of the Southern Cross, Falling Off the Edge of the World, I think is great. That's a great album. Yeah. It's a great record. And produced by Martin Birch, which brought them into a little bit more...
more modern, yeah.
You know, he was the guy that produced the Maiden stuff. And I'm a big Martin Birch fan. In fact, Birch, I think, worked with Deep Purple, and I was watching a Richie Blackmore interview the other night. And, you know, it's funny. He basically says that Deep Purple was 5 giant egos. And when he started Rainbow, it was because it was just one guy with a giant ego that suited him, and that was him. He's very funny about it. But Rainbow, I think, like, I like Rainbow better than Deep Purple. I also like Whitesnake better than Deep Purple. And I know that's blasphemy amongst hardcore Deep Purple fans. I'm not a huge fan, although I would have to say my 2 favorite Deep Purple records would be Who Do We Think We Are, which is the last one with, well, for a while, with, I'm blanking on the singer's name, right? Ian Gillan. And then Burn, or Stormbringer, the first 2 with Coverdale. But there's some great stuff. But Rainbow had some killer riffs with all like the you know, they had that.
Yeah, let me see if I can remember mine. Stargazer.
Rainbow Rising.
Yeah, right.
Rainbow Rising. I see that. I think. Yeah. Oh,
Burn from Deep Purple. Is it? What was it? I've been mistreated.
Mistreated. Yeah.
Coverdale kills it in that song.
Yeah. He really does. It's great stuff.
Burn is probably the one Purple record that I listen to the most. I like Burn. I think that's a good one.
Burn's fantastic. That's fantastic. I like I said, it's definitely one of the best Deep Purple albums. Either that, I bounce back and forth between that and Stormbringer, but I'd probably give it to Burn.
Yeah.
But Who Do We Think We Are, the last one with Ian Gillan, has some great songs on it too. Obviously, it has the iconic.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, you know. A keyboard roll.
Dude.
Killer stuff.
Purple had some really, really good stuff. I don't recall what the drummer's name is in the group.
Ian Pace.
Ian Pace kills it in Burn.
Yeah.
I love the fact that the verses in Burn don't have a discernible drum beat. The entire time he's doing fills. He's just lighting it up.
Yeah. No, he was great. He was also the first drummer in Whitesnake. I
didn't know that.
They replaced him with Cozy Powell.
Yeah.
But Whitesnake was when... So what happened was Deep Purple had Elf. I don't know if anyone remembers the band Elf. Was Ronnie James Dio's band. And Elf was opening up for Deep Purple. And Richie Blackmore approached Ronnie James Dio and said, why don't we do something? Get rid of the guitar player in Elf, and we'll all have it. We'll start a band. And they started Richie Blackmore's Rainbow. That's how it started. It was basically Elf minus the guitar player. After that album, he fired everybody except for Dio, and they ended up putting a whole new band together. But at that point, Deep Purple got Tommy Bolin, and then once that fell apart, he died, and Coverdale took Ian Pace, and I think John Lord, if I'm not mistaken, started Whitesnake with Coverdale. They eventually left, and I mean, there's some Whitesnake records. If you're not familiar with Whitesnake, Ready and Willing from 1980 is one of the greatest records.
Now, I am not terribly familiar with the less than commercial Whitesnake. I understand, though, that it's really, really heavily rooted in blues.
It's not so
like
much
blues
of
rock.
blues as much as it's no more blues than the Burn album, because Mistreated
okay.
is like the blues number.
Yeah.
And he did an old blues song called Ain't No Love in the Heart of the City, which was an old Bobby Bland song. And I like the Bobby Bland version better.
Speaking of Bland, have you heard the newest Whitesnake record?
Oh, I can't listen.
I think the newest thing came out maybe 2016.
Yeah, I have.
Good guitar players on it, but it kind of feels like he said to the drummer, "All right, here's what I want. I want you to play 1. I want you to play 2. Go ahead and play 3, and then you can play 4. Don't push, don't pull, don't swing. Whatever you do, play 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'll handle the rest." It's like, God, could you make a more boring sounding record? Even when you've got these riffs, everything is just cat, 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 cat. It's so vertical.
Yeah. I mean, and my favorite album of theirs, don't get me wrong, I think their best album is Slide It In. I think that's when they hit their peak. After Slide It In, I think the band became a little bit glitzy and glammy and started leaning towards a little bit more pop. And the Whitesnake self-titled album, like Here I Go Again. Well, Here I Go Again was originally on the Saints and Sinners album, as so was Crying in the Rain. And then on the next album, when Steve Vai played, they do Fool for Your Lovin'. And that version of Fool for Your Lovin',
no more.
That version stinks compared to the version on the Ready and Willing album. They did it on Ready and Willing in 1980, and it rocks. His voice sounds better. The band sounds better. When you get Vai playing, all you got is all the, I don't have my bar in, but you can imagine. It's all pick squeaks and all the pick squeaks and stuff. It's like, come on. There's a great song there.
Yeah.
So the Ready and Willing version to me is far superior.
I never understood Vai in the band setting. The guy is like one of the most legendary electric guitar players ever, and his tone is paper thin. You listen to like any of the sound that he made on the David Lee Roth stuff and the Whitesnake stuff, and you're listening to these riffs, even when he's hitting like, palm muted notes, it sounds like,
yes.
It's like, why is that sound so thin? You've got to have, he's probably got a rack full of shit and a couple of 412 cabinets, and they captured none of it.
Yeah, I just think he always strive. Actually, I have to say, in the David Lee Roth stuff and the first Alcatraz album he played on, because he replaced Yngwie on God Bless Video album. I can't remember. Disturbing the Peace. He was, his tone was a lot better. It wasn't great, but it wasn't bad. It just always got worse. And his sound in Zappa's band was very good too, very dry. And I do think he has a good sound on his Flexible album. There's some decent tones, but it gets worse as he goes. And it's just, I'm not a huge Vai fan, I have to say. I respect that he's a great shredder. I just find it to me like, of all the shredders, he's the least interesting to me. Right. I mean, he's neck and neck with Satriani. The two of them are in a competition to bore the living shit out of me. I mean, and if anyone's ever watched the G3 thing with Vai, Satriani, and Malmsteen, and you hear Malmsteen play, it's like, oh, somebody here I can listen to. The guy's, I mean, he's thoroughly enjoyable. His playing is great. His tone is killer. More relatable to me.
I think the thing about, and I get into this conversation with people about shredders, and I've got a couple of buddies that are like, Yngwie's the worst. He's a one-trick pony, and they talk about like, Vai does all this stuff. And I think what it comes down to for me, and maybe you've got a touch of it yourself, is Yngwie comes across to me as if he's a much more visceral guitar player. And what I mean by that is like the stuff that he does it comes from his ability to do it. It comes from a lot of technique and a lot of work on doing it, but it also feels like it's like a part of his DNA. It feels visceral. Whereas you look at somebody like Vi, and to that it feels everything he does feels a lot more deliberate to me. Like this was going to happen right here. I knew it was going to happen, and I don't get the same feeling out of it. Another one would be Guthrie Govan. He's an incredible guitar player, an incredible technician. You hear him play and you're like, what in the world? But he doesn't have that same emotional connection that somebody like when I listen to some of the Yngwie stuff. It's just like, you can call him a one-trick pony, but that's a great trick. Vibrato and the bending and how he can manipulate each one of those notes when he's not playing, 36 of them in a second. When he holds on to that note, it sounds better than those other guys.
I'll say this. If somebody were to say to me, Vi versus Malmsteen, and they said, well, Yngwie's a one-trick pony, my question would be what's the trick? He plays in tune? Because between Vi and Satriani, they're bending all over the place. To me, it just sounds like a bloodbath. I'm not digging it. I think they're out of tune a lot of the times. There's something about Yngwie's playing, and I'll just say this: if you listen to the Alcatraz album, No Parole for Rock and Roll, the album, not even, or even Live Sentence, if you want to listen to the live version, but his playing is so, it's rock and roll. It's riff rock. And he's shredding in that context. And I think where the guys like where Vi and Satriani lose me is they're all trying to come up with like these pretty melodies in the middle of like that doesn't mean anything or feel anything, and then so they have a vehicle to solo over.
Right.
I don't feel like Malmsteen's songs are vehicles to solo over. I feel like they're like bang your head like this is rocking. And it's really why, if you were to take some of the top shredders in the 90s, why I go to Marty Friedman. Because those Megadeth songs are killer. And Marty's ripping over songs, and there are songs there. I like songs.
Yeah, Marty, don't even get me started. You ever listen to you ever notice this one about Joe Satriani? I'll give you a Satriani riff here. We got that. And he goes, you ever notice that the Allman Brothers go,
that's Jessica.
And it was a
Jessica. That's it.
What is it? They even head down to that.
Right.
They even head down to that lower A right there at the same time.
Yeah, it's like I said, I don't think there's too much original things going on with it. But I mean, when you hear that, like I remember when I first heard Yngwie, and it was like that, all that shit. I was like, a
whole new level.
Yeah, all that. He does that one thing.
I got none of it.
What was that?
Good Lord.
I can't remember any of it. I mean, I'm just going by memory. But
I remember, gentlemen, I'm retiring.
No, but you remember all that? Like that, it was all that ridiculous picking, and it was like that. And I remember seeing it, and this is why I think Tab sucks.
What is it?
Yeah.
I can't do it.
Well, he does that lick a lot, but he does it a lot in Evil Eye. In the song Evil Eye, he does it in A minor where he goes. And then he just repeats it. But he plays it at lightning. He's like, can't even play it.
the dude's ridiculous.
Oh, he's unbelievable. But the thing was, in the magazines, when all the tab was coming out, they would show this lick like. It was like all in this weird position. And then when I learned it, there was a teacher in Boston named Joe Stump, and I took a few lessons from him back in the early 90s. And he showed me that it's all these string patterns of like. And it just repeats. Everything's a 2-string pattern. But it was like, it really opened up my eyes to how brilliant not only Yngwie was, because I think it's like a whole new style, and people don't give him the credit, because like Van Halen started a whole movement of guitar playing from 78 on. But Yngwie around 1982 changed the way shred guitar would be played.
Sure.
You know, and some people will sit there and say, oh, I never listened to Yngwie. I got that picking stuff from Al Di Meola. Bullshit. Di Meola played the fast-picking stuff, but it wasn't the same neoclassical thing that took off that Yngwie brought to the table, you know?
Yeah. No, I've heard stories from people that lived in L.A., as I do, where they say, oh, yeah, 82 was, or 83 or whatever, when Yngwie came out. There was definitely a different mind at work. Yeah, I've heard that. I totally believe it. Now, the thing where Yngwie loses me is he can't write a song. And Eddie Van Halen can write you the best pop metal song in the world and give you a killer guitar solo, whereas Yngwie's only going to give you the latter.
And that's why Eddie is Eddie. And why I say he's underrated is he understands the importance of the song portion, where you know, like Neil Schon. You listen to any of the Journey stuff, or and it's also good to put yourself around great players. I mean, Journey had Greg Raleigh playing with them, who was a decent writer and player, and they bring in Jonathan Cain when he leaves, a guy who really stepped up their game. You know, and
we talked a bit about this last week.
A lot of people don't give credit to the guys who actually can write. I mean, Neil Schon, do you remember when that We're Stars, that horrible for Africa, and everyone was like, you know, doing the We Are the World thing, and the metal guys did it, and you saw
what was the lyric? We are something. Sometime in the night when the feeling is strong. Something. And we all want to touch a rainbow.
That video, if you watch Neil Schon play, he's hanging right up there with the best of the shredders. I also thought that Craig Goldie from Jafria, who later joined Dio's band, was a great player. But you had Neil Schon just ripping. And here's the guy when he's soloing, he's playing, you know. Super melodic, understands what pays the bills. And everyone would love to hear him shred. And if you want to go see them live at the end of that solo, he shreds off on it as well. But on the record, it's like, let's play a song. And I'm so like, you know, I think people, I can't stand when people talk about Jimmy Page and they like say, oh, but he was a sloppy guitar player. Oh, really? Go play Friends on an acoustic and tell me how you do. Songs, you know, they're tough.
That's really funny.
On like a guitar plugged into a Supro amp or whatever the hell he was plugged into, that's not an easy task. He was playing some stuff. But probably the most iconic riffs ever. That or like what is he playing? They had some great iconic riffs. I mean, just iconic stuff. I consider them changing the record business for the 70s for a lot of guys, because before
Yeah.
the 60s, everybody was into singles, bands besides the Beatles playing their own stuff.
I'm gonna give you one. I got one. This is okay. So this would be one of the tracks that changed things for the 90s, and I'm gonna start it out a little differently here. Everybody looks at the grunge stuff and says the stuff wasn't it wasn't techie, it wasn't the guitar players stunk and yada yada yada. And I think a lot of people derive that notion from stuff like this. Do 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 do, which I get, but listen to a riff like this, which also ushered in that entire era. Good.
What was the second one you played there? The first
so
one was
good.
Outshined.
The second one was the bridge to Outshined.
Oh, okay. Oh, right.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Or we'll take it down one step further here. So these guys got creative with their tunings and everything. This is all Soundgarden stuff. But that, was it? Or, hold on, let me figure this out. That whole thing, and then...
Yeah.
Try and play that and sing that. You try and play that and sing that at the same time and tell me that it's easy. Chris Cornell was playing guitar on that too. I watched a live video of it and I was like, you've got to be kidding me.
I don't say that it's easy to play. In fact, I think the reason why certain guitar players down talk it is because there's not a lot of soloing. But who cares? Like, if you want to. Well, like. Like that.
Oh, them bones.
Yeah. Just for a whole, like, and I always love them. Just killer shit.
It's really, really good.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of stuff that I didn't recognize during the era that's surprising. Like you get a lot of stuff that's odd time. Like, is it Burden in My Hand? Follow me into the desert. Yeah. It's so good. I lost my mind today. Like, it's really
the other one that's
a lot more technical than people give it credit for.
The other one that's odd time, and I did it on a timing episode on my channel, is The Day I Tried to Live, alternates 7...
Today. Yeah, that's great.
Right in my hand. Day I Tried to Live is
one
7,
more
8
time around.
Right, but the main part is it's 7/8 to 4/4, so it's like turn the page, down and down and down and down, and watch the rolling heads. It's basically do 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 dum do 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 dum do 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 dum do 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 dum. And it's 7/8 to 4/4. Yeah. If you're counting, you just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and you can just count the whole song just alternates, and it's great. And those guys don't get the credit that for those 3 albums. I would say you've got Bad Motorfinger, Super Unknown, and Down for the Upside were 3 brilliant albums in the 90s.
Agreed.
Now, there are still deep Soundgarden fans that like the album before. To me, it gets a little bit too punky for my taste, and not into it.
You remember this one? Let's see if I can nail it down here. Yeah.
Oh, fucking great tune. I heard it on the radio 2 days ago.
That the chord progression,
mine.
the chord progression and the turnaround does this thing kind of like Rush does in Limelight. It's not the same chords, but like it's this circular pattern that's really cool. Every chord that they hit is automatically followed by a G sharp 7 and a C sharp 7, but it goes around and around, so you get this pattern that's like.
I have no idea what the lyrics are.
To me, give it up to me. Do you wanna be my angel? Give it up to me. You know, that's like, but that pattern going around and around is so cool to me.
So help me, Jesus. Right? Is that the same song?
Yeah.
I'm not.
What is it? I need the whammy bar.
Yeah.
Oh, it's really good.
Oh, it's great. I love that tune.
You know what tune you might like? It's later in their catalog, but they have a tune called Doll Skin. If you haven't heard it, check it out. It's a lot slower, a lot sludgier, but I don't know, for whatever reason I like it.
When I think of that song, for some reason, do you remember the song, the band, I used to love that tune too. That was a great. It was like.
Who was that?
Oh, what the hell was
That's not Eve 6 or Blur.
No. Begins with an S. Space Hog.
Oh yeah, I remember that name.
Yeah, Space Hog. That song was effing brilliant. I love that tune. Hey, I'll show you something cool.
I'll have to go back in time for that one.
I'm going to change my setting real quick to a clean sound. Let me just take a look here what I got. That's a Marshall. Is this any better? No, that's a Vox. I'm trying to find this Fender amp here. Here we go. So I was, we talk about guitar players and iconic riffs. I always thought, I still on top, yeah. You have one guitar doing this. The other guitar is going. Oh, I'm out. Just a real cool riff. I mean, it's like a dobro and a guitar playing those two parts. But I think Lindsey Buckingham, and especially at the end, he goes like, when it goes, you don't love me now, you will never love me again. I can still hear you say. When he does this,
it adds great tension. Great tension.
Yeah. I think it's one of the most underrated players. But let me see what the hell's out.
This episode is brought to you by Nut Sauce.
I also was a big, as you know, Smitty's fan. All right, so now I'm in Clean World. Oh, I'm in. I'll show you this. So this thing is really cool. Like, so I've said a couple of different things, but like I have like. It's got like all these different things, and it's funny when you put them in the mix to songs. It's like it really works out nice. Like here's my Brian May tone. You know, it's like all.
That's a lot of treble.
Oh, I got a treble booster going in. The thing is, when you put it up into the mix, it like cuts, and that's his sound. He has a treble booster.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, so it's like, and then here's my metal type of. When I did the whatever the hell that was.
Here's an old iconic one for you. If you like to gamble, I'll tell you I'm your man. Same to me. What's your favorite AC/DC riff to play? Let's fire off some quick ones here. What's your favorite AC/DC riff?
I got to
play, not to listen to, but what do you have fun with?
It's going to shut off my delay because there's no delay in AC/DC. All right, so AC/DC, my favorite is Gone Shootin'.
This week on Beavis and Butthead.
Exactly, they stole it for that. They stole that riff, and then they use it in the movie, in the Beavis and Butthead movie.
Ah, it's great stuff. Great stuff. This is my favorite one to play.
Great, have a drink on me. It's fantastic.
Don't mind if I do. Oh, killer. Come on, you middleman.
Yeah, and I played it also on my. I also love the song. What is it? Rising Power from the Flick of the Switch album.
Oh, okay.
I love that riff. They have so many great riffs and so many great ones on the album Powerage, like such a great, I mean, again, riff, song-oriented stuff that's just great.
Completely.
Yeah.
All right, how about your favorite Poison riff? I'm just kidding.
I don't even know if I knew one.
You remember? Ah.
Years ago, I met Warren. What is that?
I Don't Believe in Love from Queensryche.
Oh God, yes. I hate that album. Mary? You're listening to Mary? So, years ago, I met Warren DeMartini. We were hanging out playing at a party, and I was like, dude, I have to tell you, I got all these licks, and I started playing like the, you know, all these,
oh, yeah.
He looked
You're
at me.
in love.
He was like, "What exactly?" And he says, "What is that?" And I said, "I thought it was how you." And then he goes, "No, I play it like." And he started playing it. And everything was just like pentatonic, but just with wider bends. And I'm like, "Yeah, but the whole." And he was just like looking at me like I was nuts. He goes, "No, I don't think about any of that stuff. I have no idea what that stuff means." Like to get he was just like, that was his F sharp. I mean, he would just go, but he was just playing it like a blues. I was like, you gotta be, it was like, it crushed me because I'm like, well, I got all these type of licks after that. He's like, I have no idea what you just played. It was fucking hilarious because he was like the nicest guy about it.
Yeah.
He was hysterical. He was just like, I don't know what that is. You're going to show me. I'm like, are you kidding me? I got these from you. He's like, nope. But I loved when he was playing that bend, but he was like playing it everything just like minor pentatonic.
Yeah.
Like that, yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
You're a ripper.
I'm a Kelly ripper.
Ooh. I really always liked Warren DeMartini.
Oh.
And also George Lynch and Vivaldi.
Warren told me a story that George Lynch doesn't talk to him because Warren did this thing in the Round and Round video where he plays it like, does that vibrato thing side to side.
Yeah.
And then Lynch did it somewhere and everyone was like, dude, you got that from Warren, but he showed Warren it. And so because of that, he was mad at Warren DeMartini. Yeah, it's like, really? These are things in life you're going to be upset about? Gives us.
What is it? I don't know.
And it's surprised we're not talking about George Lynch because anytime I think of George Lynch, I think of Tony Fuentes.
He's the best. Well, you don't have a captain's hat yet. Once you get that, you're ready.
So we're running really low on time here, but
I don't know how anyone has it. Like that.
Oh yeah, well Eddie did too. He was like, but anyone that's hasn't seen, there's a guy on YouTube, Tony Fuentes, and I tell you right now, he genuinely seems like the nicest guy on the planet, but he loves George Lynch. And he basically makes videos, just honoring George Lynch and how he plays. And I'm not a huge George Lynch fan, but I'm a huge Tony Fuentes fan. I just think he's a lovable guy and it's hilarious.
Well, you got to give him credit. Even if you're not a Lynch fan, the dude nails Lynch pretty well. He does. If that was the intention, he's got it.
Yeah, but he's obsessed, and he seems like the nicest guy on the planet. And
you ever notice? That's the meanest thing you can say about somebody.
Right,
because it's going to be backhanded and something else is coming.
Right.
Right. He's the nicest guy. But boy, what an idiot! Right.
Who's wasted his life trying to study George Lynch?
Could have been a doctor.
I have to say, it's funny. I was never a George Lynch fan growing up. There's a couple of things I got from his playing when I was young. Was George did this diminished thing. Let me see if I can move this out of the way. So, if you're playing a diminished scale, like let's say you're playing like an A minor, the diminished would be here. So you have like the 1/4 and 1/4 on the third string and the first string. Well, you can just keep repeating it up so you can go. So the cool thing, how Lynch would do it, would he be like. And I always thought that was cool when I was a kid. That was like the one thing I picked up George Lynch. Which was...
Sounds cool.
So I got that from George Lynch. And other than that, I was never a huge fan of his playing. But, I mean, it's just whatever it is.
I will say, I'll give him credit for one thing, and I don't know if he deserves the credit, but the with Ray Luzier and Doug Pinnick is I really like it. That's, It's a good record. I mean, Ray is, for those who don't know, Ray's currently the drummer for Korn, and he was in Army of Anyone, I think, and a handful of other things. And he's also a super nice guy. But Ray and Doug Pinnick, who's the bass player and vocalist for King's X, and George Lynch. And that record is really good. The second one I heard, I wasn't as into it, but the first one was good.
Did a Big Angry track with me for...
Oh, that's right.
For Chris Bell called Bigger, Stronger, Faster. There's a film out there, and we, the Big Angry, did a couple of songs in the film, and Ray played drums for me. And Ray is like the nicest guy, great monster drummer, well, he was great, just was awesome. And I know you're a huge Doug Pinnick fan, and I think that stuff is better suited because I just think, and actually I did like the Lynch Mob album with Dream Until Tomorrow.
Don't wanna be in no bed of roses. So 80s.
Oh yeah, I love Cheese though.
Dude. Was it Wicked Sensation?
Yeah, I'm like, you ever see Family Guy when he's gonna have Hamburger Helper, and then the other guy goes, "How about Hamburger Helper with cheese?" And Peter's like, yeah, it's the same thing as this. I can add cheese. And he's like, "Oh, please, just help him out. He's my brother." Like he was like the.
I don't remember the bit, but it's brilliant.
Unbelievable. But that's how I feel. I love the cheesy, like, as long as it's got a good melody, I'm in. I used to love, if you're into shred, there was a guitar player, James Bird, who played in the band Fifth Angel.
Oh, I remember you talking about them years ago.
Oh God, I love the song. What is the name of the song? Is it Midnight Love? It used to be the Howard Stern. I'll put it on the bottom here what the song is, but you got to check it out by Fifth Angel. It's on the Time Will Tell album or something like that, but I think it's called Midnight Love, and it was the opening song to the Channel 9 Stern show. But I loved that guy's leads in there. That was a great bit. You know what else? One last thing I just want to say is Lukather. I saw him a couple of weeks ago. He's still a monster. Yeah. And I was watching his Starlicks, and I've always played the Rosanna solo the front part I always play the same as him. It's like... That part I've always played the way he plays it. But this part he plays like... Where before I was playing it like... So I've been working on trying to play it like him, so it's like that. Guy's a monster. All right, folks, that's enough for today. We've shot the shit. This has been another episode of Guitar Talk.
You're listening to Guitar Talk.
All right.
Oh, I apologize for subjecting all of you folks to that.
Yes, this
Please
was totally week. John's idea.
Oh, dare you!
Here comes the bus. All right, so John, I'll talk to you next week. We'll do some more talk next week for I have a Q&A coming up for us. We have some questions coming in, so we'll answer those and.
I like a Q&A. All right, sounds good.
Little viewer mail. All right, I'll wrap you later, man.
All right, take it easy, everybody.
Very good.
You're listening to Guitar Talk with Dave and John.